Hello everyone. Thank you for coming today for another live stream. Today is a little bit windy again, so if you hear like doors moving or anything like that, it's just the wind. But yeah, so I hope everyone's doing well today. And for today's stream, I just kind of wanted to talk about a few things. So they were on my mind this month, not this month, sorry. Well, this month and the last few days. And I wanted to talk about them on today's stream. So the two topics I want to talk about today is a little bit about like organization, I guess, like more talks about like how things are organized on like a clerical side in Japan, like with shrines and like how things are like done on in official capacity in terms of like paperwork and things like that. And the other thing I wanted to talk about was about like basically like how to pray to kami-sama, or like how to um communicate to kami-sama, because a lot of people are coming from an approach of like their previous religions or previous religious experiences, and so like the way that we might be praying to kami-sama or like thinking about prayer um could also be like it could also cause problems for us like when we communicate. So I wanted to talk about those two things. And hi Tifa-san, welcome. So just the first thing is that um like how are like shrines organized in Japan, and um like how do shrines get established, or like how do priests get ordained and things like that. So first of all, um like first of all, what I want to say is that the system is really built for like in person, like local. So like basically the assumption is kind of like how it is in Japan. So like in Japan, you're going to be really close to a lot of shrines like at any given moment. Like even where I am right now in this shrine, there's like I could name already like one, two, three, like four shrines around me. Hi Alex, welcome. I can name like four shrines around me and like a temple within like a 5 minute, 10 minute walk. And in other area, and this is like Yokosuka, which is like not a lot of like shrines or temples compared to other areas. But like in other areas, it's even more shrines and more temples in the local area. So like the system is kind of like in Japan is kind of built around that culture and that like atmosphere, where there's like a lot of shrines or like a lot of temples around us, and it's easy to like go to them in person. Like it's not going to be like a whole complicated matter to visit a shrine or a temple. But unfortunately, like for us, like for many people overseas, this is not like possible. Like the nearest shrine is like a plane ride away, or like a like 12-hour drive, and it's like a whole like pilgrimage to just go to one shrine. So a lot of like the way the system works in Japan, it's not made for like that kind of like interaction. It's made for like the understanding that the shrines are local to you, or like close by, or like even if they're farther, like a head shrine, it's within the same country. So that's kind of the way like the system has been established, and that makes it really difficult for people overseas who want to practice Shinto, or like get involved in terms of like clergy, or like set up a shrine overseas. So that's like one problem. The other problem is that how to explain this? Like the other problem is that like um a lot of the concept of like Shinto shrines or like jinja overseas is still like it's known, but it's still pretty like novel, as in like it's not common, and it's still pretty much like a newish like frontier in a way. So like there's history of jinja being established overseas, like especially during the Japanese Empire era, like from the Meiji era and like Imperial Japan. But those were like functionally different. Like those shrines that were established by the imperial, like by the Meiji government and by the imperial like state, basically were like more state shrines, like government shrines. So they were established by the government and like maintained by like army and like on a very official grand capacity. But now that doesn't exist, so any shrines that exist overseas are more like a personal reason or like a community reason, which I think is good. But that makes it more complicated to establish them. So, like in Hawaii, for example, is a really, really good example. The reason that there's so many jinja in Hawaii is both because of the history of many Japanese diaspora living there, but also Japanese diaspora living there to this day and maintaining the shrines and the traditions there. So that's like a really good example. But again, it relies on like the reason that it's like that is because of the presence of the Japanese people there and maintaining the community, both from historical times into modern times. And it's very similar as far as I know in Brazil as well. There's a lot of shrines and Japanese population and diaspora in Brazil. So like the shrines there, they were established historically and still maintained locally by the people there. I know that I heard like some shrines like are very like not traditional sometimes, or like there's very different practices, but basically like the reason that they were established and still maintained is because of the Japanese population there. So when it comes to like in places where there isn't really a big communal Japanese diaspora, and the fact that knowledge about Shinto is still relatively like quote unquote new because of like the internet, like I would say in the last like 30 to 40 years, which is a long time, but it's not like that long, like it's not long enough to really like start establishing things on like a grander scale. Um, like especially the last 10 years have gone by so fast. So I would really put it more at like the last 10 to 20 years pretty much like kind of like really like this bigger knowledge of Shinto practices because of the internet, rather than like word of mouth through like Japanese community and Japanese diaspora. So I think that's like the main difference. But like of course, like I think we're like, we're the future. So I know things will change in like the next like 10 years, the next 20 years, because like, we're like I feel like our community here, like the overseas Shinto community, will make more and more changes and more influence. So I think it'll change. But as of right now, it's like very like we're kind of in the like transitional period, like the pioneer kind of era where like we're kind of going into a new frontier of like young people, like younger people, young adults, knowing about Shinto practices from online and like going to Japan, being able to travel freely and wanting to bring those traditions back to the home country. And it's like the system is not really there for that, unfortunately. But it could change. I want it to change. But like right now, it's just very difficult. So we kind of have to like slowly work towards like changing things and like making more influence. Um, but just like as of right now, like the system as it is, it was more like established for like local or like within Japan system. And then like if it's overseas, it was like from a Japanese diaspora or like from like a head shrine in Japan establishing it on their own will and their own like funds and stuff, and in connection with like a local community. So it's like it's a little bit complex like that. Like for example, the shrines now on mainland USA, like Shusei Inari Shrine of America and Kanagari Inari Shrine and Shinmei Shrine in Canada, and I think Usagi Jinja as well. Like all of them have a really close connection to Japan and like a head shrine in Japan. So like that's like the baseline because of the way the system works now, that you need to have that like connection to a head shrine. So like for Shinmei Shrine, it's like Tsubaki Grand Shrine. As well for like Bearish Sensei at Kanagari Inari, it was also Tsubaki Shrine, Tsubaki Grand Shrine. And then of course for Shusei Inari of America, it's Shusei Inari in Japan. And then for Kamenabi Banyu Ko Shinto Shrine, that's also like the head shrine of Reverend Kanawa. And like everyone has like a direct like parentage to the shrine in Japan, and they always, they go back to Japan often. So the connection has to be like very strong to the parent shrine in Japan to like establish something overseas. Like there's not really a system from like, like a second generation, I guess you could say, like from like an overseas shrine to another overseas shrine, really. There always has to be that like connection back to Japan. Even in Konko Faith, like even if you want to establish a Konko Hiromai, like it always goes back to Japan because that's the way like the system has been like traditionally maintained. It's like you always got to go back to like the origin of the faith or the shrine that you want to establish. And I think that's good, but it just makes it very difficult. Like it adds difficulty to establish shrines. And like I don't know the solution because I think it's good that there's still a connection to Japan and like we need that for sure. But also it's very like it's also very big difficulty to like realistically it's very difficult to like have like to do that while you're living overseas. Especially if you have like a house, a family, like a job, and you can't uproot your life to go live in Japan for like 5-10 years. It's like extremely difficult to like find a way to get to get it established. So I guess like I don't know, it's up to our generation to kind of like figure out like a good compromise or like solution to this. But again, like right now it's very difficult. But I don't want to like say the way it is now and then that like discourages people. I want to like just inform how it is so like we understand it and then we can like work within the current system and then like try to find ways to like work within this system without like imposing or like doing something like disrespectful or like causing problems. So I actually have a good example of this. I don't want to name names or like get too personal, but this did happen like in certain like Japanese Buddhist circles and like certain other Japanese religious circles. Like I'm trying to be purposely vague. But there was some teachers who really wanted to spread the traditions overseas, and the teacher was very open to many like foreigners and wanted to spread the way very openly. And even allowed them to like not they didn't have to go back to Japan, like as long as they learned under the teacher or the temple overseas, like it would have been okay. However, this ended up with a lot of the students of these traditions. They kind of took advantage of that goodwill, and they kind of like took advantage of their teachers, and they kind of like said, "Oh, well, we have the certifications and we have the approval, so we don't need to respect or listen to the teacher or like the tradition that we came from. Like we can just start our own because we have the approval." But that's not how it works in Japan. Like in Japan, like the Japanese tradition, religious traditions, whether it's like Buddhism or another religion or like Shinto, like it's really really important to respect the lineage that something comes from, and respect your senseis and respect the people who have like carried on this lineage over many years. So like so the thing is that like when when they transmit it to people who maybe aren't familiar with this culture, it can cause a lot of problems because like it's not that like you get the certification and then you're like, okay, I'm certified, and then like you can just do whatever you want because you have the certification. You're always going to be tied to like the lineage that you came from, and like there's an expectation that you have to like respect that lineage and respect your sensei forever. So like when people like go against this, um that's like really bad. And it basically you're not seen as like legitimate or like even if you have the certification technically, like if you cut off your sensei, you're like cutting off the lineage you learned from. So like basically you're not like legit anymore basically, like for lack of a better term. So like I think like that's a big concern with a lot of shrines if they like um if they just like ordain people or like they give certifications to people and then they don't care about the traditions and their like lineage that helped ordain them or like basically like guided them. So I think that's like a big concern with a lot of shrines as well. Like people are open, but like that's why they want you to go back to Japan. They want the connection between us and like the head shrine and like the lineages in Japan to be strong. So it's not like, diluted or like people just go rogue. So that's why there's like a lot of strictness with it because the concept of like staying loyal to your like sensei and lineage is like not always understood by people like overseas. Like that sounds really bad. I'm not saying like people like I'm not saying like you guys wouldn't understand that, but like it has like realistically it has happened. So like and the like traditional religious sphere in Japan is pretty like close knit. So like people know, especially if there's like a foreigner and they're like they're like new. So it's like everyone's gonna know what happened and then it's gonna like cause more problems. So it's so that's why there's a lot of like pressure and like uncertainty and like wanting to make sure that like people are like following the traditions and like not disrespecting their lineage or their senseis and stuff. Sorry, let me read the comments. So Michael says, I believe Red Barish's previous shrine enshrined different kami-sama than the current one. Did he also switch the maternal shrine then? So in regards to Reverend Barish's shrine, as far as I understand it, he actually had a previous shrine before Tsubaki, and I'm not really sure how the previous shrine came about. But he enshrined like I'm pretty sure he enshrined I don't remember actually. I'm not sure. But I know that like he merged that shrine. I think it was Kanagata shrine with Tsubaki shrine. And then he got the Goshintai of the Tsubaki Okami. But then after the split again, it just became Kanagata shrine. Um but like officially speaking, like I'm not really sure like where the Goshintai from Kanagata shrine came from. But basically like it was like Kanagata shrine he had and then it went to Tsubaki shrine and then he gave the Tsubaki shrine Goshintai back to Tsubaki shrine and then it went to Shinmei shrine and then like sorry and then like it just went back to the Kanagata shrine and I think maybe he got I'm not sure what happened. I'm not like I didn't ask because I know it's really personal. But like I think he got a Goshintai from like Fushimi Taisha maybe to make like Kanagari Inari. I'm not really sure though. Like, don't take my word for that. I think it's better if you ask him. But either like, I don't know, like either it was the Goshintai from the original shrine that he had, or he got Goshintai from Fushimi Taisha. But yeah, so like that's basically what that's what as far as I understand what happened there. Yes. Vadim-san says there was also a United Shrine, but current Kanagara. Oh, hi Vadim-san. Hi Vadim-san. But current Kanagara Jinja technically don't have parent shrine. It just exists. Yeah, I'm not really sure like where the Kanagara shrine came from. I don't want to do like speculation on live. I'm not really sure. But I'm gonna assume like because he got permission from Tsubaki and they like merged his original shrine with Tsubaki shrine. I'm gonna assume like there was some understanding there. So I'm not sure, but basically like whatever happened, Tsubaki Shrine was aware of it, and they like still approved Reverend Barish to serve as a priest. So I'm gonna like I'm on the assumption that like he got permission through them. So yeah, I don't want to like speculate too much on stream. Like I don't actually know. So but I do know like the general system and rules. So like yeah. So that's kind of what happened. Yes. Well, Ina-san. Hi, Ina-san. Alex says, I believe that for people in the West, especially recently, it's become all too easy to cast aside or mock lineage and vertical relationships. Absolutely. And that is a huge problem because again, like in Japan, like I know that like people at shrines and like priests are very, very friendly. And like, of course, they want to welcome everybody to the shrine and like practice and like have a kamidana. But if you're talking about like becoming a priest and establishing a jinja, like everything changes. So like everything changes, like now there's like more responsibility, more expectations of you. You have to like respect, you can't just like you can't just like, okay, I'm ordained and then like do whatever you want. That's like super like dame, like it's super bad. Um and like basically you get like excommunicated. So like even if you like again like what happened in that other groups, like even if you have like the on paper certification, like basically if your sensei like says like you're not my students and like I don't like recognize you, you like basically have no legitimacy in like Japanese tradition. Because like if you cut off your sensei, like it's so bad. Like I can't even describe how bad that is. So it's like going rogue. Like it's just like super dumb. So yeah, like I can't explain it, um but yeah, so like that's why like they're very like if someone says like I want to be like a priest or like I want to establish a shrine, they expect you to like first of all they expect you to be like very serious about it. Like they don't expect like if you're just saying it casually, like it's already like your impression is already like very down. Because it's so important. uh but also like there's kind of this expectation that you're going to put in the effort to maintain the lineage, to like respect the traditions, to respect the shrine. And it's not even really like only about the kamisama, it's also about like the fact that like generations upon generations of people put in the time and the effort to like protect the shrine over like hundreds of years. So like if they like approve you and then you turn your back on them and like that's like turning back on all the generations of people who protected the shrine. So it's like extra like it's extra bad. So that's why they're like extra vigilant to like make sure that you understand like how important it is to like respect that. So like I know that like a lot of people have not you guys, but like a lot of people I talk to about like Shinto stuff is they think like, oh, it's easy to be a priest and like I just get the paper and then I set up whatever shrine I want and then I'm good to go. And it's like, well, like no, because like it would be like if it was that easy, I'm sure we would see more shrines overseas. But the fact is like people in Japan here, they want to protect the lineage that has been carried on for hundreds of years through wars, through famines, through natural disasters, through all of these difficult times and difficult things. And all the communities that all the people that came together to protect the shrine, to protect the kamisama. And like it's like super cute. I can't explain it on with my words on live, like how important it is. But that's why like they really want to be sure that the person who's like next in line, the person who's going to carry that to the future, is someone who's like really serious and someone who understands all of that. And now it's not to say like you're locked in to like you're like trapped in this like lineage. Like you don't have to like if one day you're like I'm just not ready to be like I'm not this is not for me, like that's okay. But like and then you can just like quit, that's okay. Or like you can move to another shrine, like that's okay. But as long as you do it like respectfully and you understand to respect the people who like approved you and like who taught you, like it can't just be like doing whatever you feel like. Like I mean people do that, but it's like really bad, like it's really disrespectful, it's really just like seen as like really like low moral character, and like um basically like even if you tried to become a priest of another shrine, like nobody would want to like take you in because they wouldn't trust you, like because of the lack of respect and the lack of like consideration and like all this stuff, right? So like that is the key here for this kind of stuff. Sorry, let me see the comments. um Sorry. So Michael says, a friend of mine has an official druid certificate from well-known Irish druidic group. When he told me it was 1 year long course with only sharing diaries and some online meetings, my first reaction was kind of skeptic. I totally understand that Japanese shrines want us to visit in person because it's the only way to correctly evaluate us. Yes, yes. Yeah, I mean, yeah, like I think a lot of people think like Shinto is, because the impression of Shinto overseas is like, like naturey religion, and like a religion of like, like worshiping the land and stuff like that. And so maybe like a lot of people get the impression it's simple, like, like more ancient religions who their lineages didn't continue into the modern time, unfortunately. So the lineages now are kind of like kind of like reconstruction, or like are like a group that established itself more recently, and that's okay. Like that's legitimate in its own way, but like it's not the same as Shinto because the lineage in Shinto groups have existed like for a long time, and even if they were new, like newish, like Konko, Konko is connected to like an older, like again, like an older tradition. So like it go like Konko faith itself is newer, you could say, but then it like goes back to like Onmyodo, and like goes back to Hake Shirakawa Shinto. So like there's connections that make it go back all the way to the Heian period. So there's always some like living lineage that a shrine can go back to, and then carrying that into the future. But like, for like Europe and stuff, it's like that lineage was kind of cut and then has to be regrown, so it's a little bit different. But in Japan, it's like the lineages always have a really old roots, so you have to like respect that, and that's what makes it different, and that's why they really want to see who you are in person. Like um you can like write, like you can visit the shrine, and you can like express your feelings in letters. And like, I'm not saying like letters are wrong, because I used to, like, before I lived in Japan, I used to write to like shrines, and like I'm a long distance worshiper of Issei Jingu and stuff, so I understand, right? But if it comes to being a priest, they want to like see you, like how you are in all sorts of situations. So like stressful situations, upsetting situations, or even situations you could take advantage of, like how do you react to them, like all sort of different daily circumstances. Like they want to be there to see you and see how you are in these situations, and then they get a better understanding of you. Because when we're just visiting a place, or when we express ourselves from one place, they can see one part of us, but they don't see all of us, even the parts we don't know if we have flaws. So that's why a lot of the shrines want to like see us and like live with us, and like have that day-to-day connection before they can really like say like, yeah, like I trust this person, like I know they're going to be a good student, I know they're going to be sincere, like I've seen them in all sorts of situations. It's kind of like that. But again, that's hard when you're overseas, right? So that's the disconnect. If you're like living in person, like in Hawaii, or like on one of the mainland shrines, you're training directly under the sensei, that's different, right? Or you're in Japan. But when you're living far, that's when it becomes more difficult. But yeah, so yeah, that would never like work out for a shrine, unfortunately, just because of the weight. Even just for me, in my experience, like the only reason, like I feel that I was offered to go to training to become a priest was because I was going like 3 times a week to the Toronto Kyokai. And I was like with my sensei like every day almost, like keeping in touch every day. I was like cleaning the bathrooms. I was like vacuuming all the time. I offered sacred dance. Like basically like almost half my life was like with the Toronto Kyokai and like doing things there. And that is like, living there and like volunteering and like, spending years and years like actively involved locally, making the effort to come even when it was rainy or like bad weather or like super snowy. Like I would go, and that like spoke to how much it meant to me, like through my actions. It wasn't just words, or like I was only there for a short time. Like my sensei could see that like how much it meant to me to be there, because I would go through like anything. I would really want to be there, and that's still true even now. So like it's the same way for a lot of senseis in Japan and like elsewhere. They want to see your actions, like how you are really genuine and sincere. But that's why I feel sad, because I know it's very difficult to do that when you live far. That's why I'm sad, because it's like I don't know how to resolve this, especially you have a life like rooted somewhere else, and you have children, and you have a job, again, like a job, children, um like a house, and you can't just like leave, like so that's kind of my like goal, I guess, to kind of bridge this kind of gap. So that's like a really big situation, let's see. So Vadim-san says, I think the problem with people not following traditions and doing whatever they want after training isn't foreigners only. Yes, I see quite a few priests in Japan who have undergone training, often not at Jinja Honcho, and now serve at Jinja, but who hold quite a few new age ideas. Oh, I see. Yes, yes. Yeah, see that, like, you can never fully mitigate the risk. So, like, I'm on the topic of foreigners because, like, we're all foreign people here, and we want to be priests, or some people want to be priests, and mostly I'm speaking English. So like most people watching probably won't be Japanese, so that's kind of where I'm coming from. But you're right. Like even in Japan, like it doesn't. Even if they try to do everything right, it still doesn't guarantee that the person who is ordained will like actually respect the lineage. And unfortunately, that makes it harder, like 10 times harder for foreign people, because now it's like okay, well, if even this like like if even this person who's born and raised in Japan and should understand how important it is to respect the lineages and traditions, even they go kind of like their own way, then it's like even more like difficult for them to trust someone born outside of Japan, who has to learn the culture on top of it. And so it's like it's very difficult for people to trust someone, like to really like, you know what I mean. Like so it's like it's it's like even if your disciples in Japan who are Japanese are going like off the sensei's route or teachings or the lineage's teachings, then it's like extra difficult now for someone who's born outside of Japan, who doesn't live there, to gain that trust and gain that understanding between the sensei. So it's like a whole situation. And it's like I don't know what the solution, like I personally as Olivia, I don't know the solution. Um for me, like I don't know, I guess it's just all about like education and like I don't know. I don't really know, but I think it starts with education and just emphasizing how important it is to keep a tradition. I think what really helped me was having a foreign sensei too, because um, basically I have two senseis who I consider like my teachers, which is like Kishi Sensei from Toronto Kyokai and Andrew Uzunoi Sensei from Portland Kyokai. And Andrew Uzunoi Sensei was not like, he was not born in a Konko family, and he's mixed with different race. He's not like fully Japanese. So like he is kind of like similar to me. So he like understands like how things are from like an outsider's perspective. And when he was training me at Portland Kyokai, like he wasn't afraid to be like direct with me, like to just say the quiet part out loud. Because like a lot of times the Japanese senseis wouldn't tell me, like they would just try to like be indirect, and my dumb Canadian brain was not like comprehending. But like thanks to Andy sensei, like he like actually just said like directly like how important it is, and like I cannot like just do whatever I want. And he was like very direct, and it sounded kind of mean, but I needed that because I think if I didn't understand how important it was, and like how like like how we have to respect it, I don't think I would have actually like comprehended it deeply as much as I needed to comprehend it. Because before he kind of just like was more direct with me, I thought like, okay, yes, the tradition is important, and I'm gonna learn the tradition, but then I want to do things like things that I feel is good to do, like you know what I mean, like. And of course that's good too, like it's good to do that, to have fresh ideas, but it's all about the balance, you know. So like there's things I want to do differently or new, but I have to come at it from a place of understanding the big picture. Like it's not just about me right now, it's about like everyone who came before me too. So like putting that in perspective, like it like made me realize like, okay, yes, like I want to do new things, but I want to keep the old things that are still good, you know? So like keep the old traditions that are good, and then like introduce new traditions that are for the modern times, that help people in modern times, like live streaming, or like having little like cute things, because like cute things are popular now, you know. So it's things like that. But when like I feel like a lot of the traditional way of teaching with Japanese senseis, like sometimes they're not always direct, and they don't want to be like, they don't want to push you away either, but sometimes you need to be direct. So it's kind of like that situation, you know. So like I don't know, it's very complicated and difficult, and like there's a lot of controversy right now in this, like what to do for the future, and like all this stuff. Some people don't even want to approve anyone unless they're like their actual biological child. And like even then, that's not guaranteed that like things won't go crazy or like Ari. Like it's really just like, even you can do everything right and then someone still goes like rogue. But that's why like at least even if you did everything right and someone went rogue, at least the sensei could say like I did everything right. And not like made exceptions to the rule, and then now this happened, you know. So it's like, in because in Japanese culture, like the person who is in charge basically has a responsibility for the people under them. So like you see this a lot in like corporate and like banks and stuff, right? Like if the employee messes up, it's not the employee's fault, it's the boss's fault. So like it's the same thing here. If the priest who got approved by the sensei messes up, it's the sensei's fault, it's not the priest's fault. So that causes like a lot of issues. But if the priest did everything right and they did all they could to teach the pupil sensei, then it's like, okay, well the understanding is more like, okay, well then they just kind of went rogue, and then it's like shogunai, you know, like what are we gonna do, right? But the important thing for the sensei is that they did all they could, and that means like not a lot of compromises, not a lot of um like exceptions and things like that. So it makes it really difficult to work with. But it's like, so I don't know what to do, but like I guess I just want to educate like why it's so difficult, and like also why it's so important. So kind of wanted to talk about that. And Lupin says, if I live near a Kyokai, I'd be there on the daily. Yes, yes. See, and that's the thing. Like, I know so many of you guys here are like so sincere, and you're like so serious, and like you would make amazing priests, amazing worshiper. Like, you're already amazing worshipers. Like, you know, if you ever wanted to pursue the path, like I feel like you guys would be really sincere. But then it's like, how do I show that? You know, how do I explain that to like an older sensei? who has like all this responsibility on his shoulders to do the right thing and like to teach the right ways, you know, even while knowing all the risks and all the problems that can happen, even from like a Japanese student, like a pupil, you know. And that's the thing too, like even within like, because like, so like, how do I explain this? Like, even if you got like a license, like okay, like let's say, because there's a way to avoid the whole like sensei situation. And like the sensei situation applies in Konko Faith, but also applies to like shrines when the priest recommends you to go to get the license and do the test. But if you go through like Jinja Honcho, like through Kokugakuin, there's not really a sensei, but it's like the school. Now the school is responsible for you, and like Jinja Honcho is responsible for you. But like in that case, if you mess up, you basically like you basically just lose your license, and you don't serve any shrine because like no shrine will take you. So that's basically what happens. But like some people I've heard like went rogue too. Like they just established like illegitimate shrines. So like that happens, but it's not like good. I mean, like it's not really like respectful. And basically, the common belief is like even if someone just sets up like an illegitimate shrine, or like they just set up a shrine and their heart is on the right place, basically like kami-sama won't come. So like it's just a building or like a garden decoration. Like that's kind of the belief, like the understanding. So like even if like again, like even if someone has like the paper and then they go rogue and they go weird and then like they establish like a fake shrine, basically the like feeling is like there's no kami-sama here because like this person completely disregarded like everything and everyone, and they just like went rogue. So like it's not really like a place that has any link to kami-sama. So yeah, like that's kind of the belief that's traditionally there. So yeah, that's just how it is. So that's why like for me personally, like I just want things to be good. Like I just want things to be done like traditional, but then also like, you know, have like realistic compromises like in any way possible. Cause I think if we're gonna like move forward into the future, I would like for there to be some like alternative methods, and I don't know how that would look like, but I think it would be good to have that. Um, but yeah, it's just like there's so much like pressure. I don't know how to explain it, like pressure and like, you know, it's hard to explain because like I can say it with my words and I can even write it in a book, but like to really see it like it's something you feel when you're here for sure. Like it's something you feel when you're here. Like like have you ever been to like a shrine here, or like even like a kyokai? Like you see like the years and like everyone's name, like who like made the shrine, like who helped set it up, who donated to it. Like here too, like you see like the past head ministers here, and you see like the Konko samas here, like the third Konko sama, fourth Konko sama. Like there's like a history, you know, like you feel it. And like even like over here there's like some pictures of like worshipers from like 80 years ago. And like when I see them, I'm like, you know, I get like emotional because it's like now I'm here, you know, and it's like now I'm like carrying on this like their hopes for the future. And it's like I'm here now in the future, and it's like, you know, all of this, you know, like it's just so much. So like I don't know how anyone can like feel that or see that and then like not care about that. Like it feels so sad to me. And that doesn't even go for Japan. That goes for like anything. Honestly, that goes for like anything where like people have like really like it's like a genuine thing that like people have carried on, and then like, you know, you're the next generation, and then you carry it to the future too. And it's like, you know, all this like feeling and like, you know, people people prayed here, and people, they went through life here. They had weddings, they had baby blessing, they had funeral, and it's like, if you disregard that, it's like, where, like, it's a human thing. It's not even like a religious thing anymore. It's like a very human thing to like not have any regard for that. So yeah, that's like, that's why I'm like so passionate about it, I guess. Like, oh my god, I can go into a whole rant about like, there's this anime I really love. It's called like Orb on the Movements of the Earth. And I get so emotional because it's like all about that. Because like in the anime, like they were trying to like teach about like heliocentrism, like the new idea at the time that like the Earth revolves around the sun, but it wasn't like they couldn't really talk about it openly. So like basically, like, so summarize, like they were trying to like carry on this teaching through like different people and different generations, and they made so many sacrifices to like keep this idea alive. And it kind of reminds me of like here, like in the shrine, like in Konko too, like so many people made so many sacrifices and like went through so much like difficulties, and they went through so many hardships to keep this alive and like keep the faith alive. And I get really emotional about that. So it's like, I don't want to be the person who like disregards that, you know. And I think that goes for like any shrine, any traditions too. Like people of so many years tried to carry on this like faith through so many hardships, so many things, and then like to disregard that feels so sad. So that's why I'm like passionate about like making sure like, we understand like what it's really all about. It's not just about like the aesthetics or like, the cool stuff or like the exciting stuff. Like there's all this too we have to think about. And like I know like it's not how do I explain this? Like I know it's not nice, or like it's not how do I explain it? Like, so like for me, for example, like I wanted to help establish more shrines like overseas, and like more Konko Faith like Hiromai overseas, and like I wanted to do lots of stuff. But then I realized there's like so much more to it. Like I can't just go and like do what I thought I could do so easily, because I want to respect every tradition, every shrine, and like I want to do things right. So like, like a lot of people think like, oh, you're like a priest now, so you can just like set up like a shrine to Amaterasu and Kami-sama like anywhere. And I'm like, and if I was like a bad person, I could just say, yeah, I can do that. Like I'm a priest, I can do it. But that wouldn't be right because I actually can't, like traditionally speaking, because if I wanted to set up a shrine to Amaterasu Omikami-sama, this shrine I would serve would have to have a Goshintai of hers, and I would have to do this Goshintai ceremony like here, and then like bring it to the plane there, and then like do the whole thing properly. I might even need to like ask Issei Jingu. Like I'm not really like there's a whole like procedure. But if I was like a bad person, I didn't care. I just like go and do whatever, and like that's not right. So like yeah, like maybe I can't like just set up all the shrines like I want to, or like would be happy to help with. But for me, it's more important to respect those traditions and like do things right than just like do things like easy, I guess you could say, because that's not like, like I don't know, that's not, to me that's not good. And I hope like for the future generations and like for generations now, we still keep that tradition. I hope we don't just like throw it away because it's like inconvenient or something. I want to do things right and like have a compromise, but like still do things right. Oh, okay. So Vadim says, how can someone technically mess up in Konko Kyo as a minister? As a religion, Konko is pretty flexible. I think from Tanaka Sensei, I've heard that in the entire Konko history, there is no defrocking. Oh, well, so like that is true, but I think one good example is Omoto Kyo. So if I remember correctly, Reverend Deguchi now. Wait, let me see. So she was actually a Konko. She was a Konko priestess. Wait, hold on. Let me see. Let me double check this because um okay, yeah. So yes, that's right. So Deguchi now sensei, she was originally a Konkokyo minister. And she became a Konkokyo minister because she had experiences with Konjin sama. And at the time, like Konkokyo was connected to Konjin sama, so she wanted to, serve Konjin sama as a priest. So she went to Konkokyo. But her own spiritual experiences were like becoming way more complicated and way more intense. So she ended up leaving Konko and like establishing her own faith, which was Omotokyo. So like I guess you can't like you don't really like in Konko faith itself, it's so like broad that like even Deguchi Nao's like experiences were like accepted. Like they weren't like, oh my god, you're like blasphemous, like you cannot be a priest, etc. But like there's a point where it becomes there was a point for her where it became too different that it kind of like I don't think she like it was so different that it ended up not being really Konko anymore. And that's why it became Omoto Kyo. So like there's a situation like for like that's an example of a situation where like it can go so a little bit so different that it kind of becomes its own thing. It's not like she was like excommunicated or like being like blasphemous. I don't know how to explain it. But it was just like it was so different faith that she herself didn't feel comfortable to be like Konko anymore. So she kind of made her own thing. So does that make sense? So like Konko's pretty like open like that. But then there's like kind of like a border, I guess. Like there's still like a definition. So it's like an open understanding, but then there's like a border. And then I guess like naturally, like it just kind of changes so much that it's not really like distinguishable as Konko anymore. So it that kind of happened like this is kind of a weird example, but that happened with like there was like this Inari shrine or like Ko in Brazil, and they used to be like very like close to Inari faith and like Shiminari Taisha, but then they like kept changing it over time. And as far as I heard, like they they added like saints in the religion, and they added like native deities and like native practices. And so it's not even really like Inari faith anymore. It's just like their own thing. So I think that's kind of what happens. Like nobody really gets like excommunicated, but just like it naturally becomes so different that it's not really like you can't really define it that way anymore. Does that make sense? It's kind of like it's like that. But I guess like she's a good example of how that can happen. Like you just kind of go like so far from from not the original from the source from the original source that you just kind of be like your own thing. um yeah, I don't know like what happened, like why like or like like the true origins, but like I know that like she wasn't like seen as like a bad person in Konko. Like she was just like, oh, okay, like you do your own thing, So yeah, but yeah, it's not like it's just like you don't get excommunicated, you just get different. And that's kind of same thing. Like in that situation with like the students who kind of like went against their sensei, they kind of ended up becoming their own thing, but like but they can't like that's the thing, like they can't claim lineage from the original lineage, you know what I mean? So like in the same way Deguchi now became her own, like made Omoto Kyo, like she like it's not really that like the lineage is really like from Konko. It's more like her own experiences. Does that make sense? I don't know how to explain it. It's like very difficult to explain. I guess you could consider like logistically, but it's more like she became a minister because of Konjin sama, and not that there's like traditions like Toritsugi that come from Konko. Like I don't know how to explain it. So it's just like it's complicated like that. William says, I'm not sure if she was actually a Konko minister. The information on this is pretty vague. We know for sure that she was connected to Konkokyo, but I'm not sure if she was a minister. Yes, so as far as I understand and what I've heard and read, she was actually ordained as a minister, but then she just like she let go of that designation on her own. Like she didn't like get it revoked. But I'm like almost really sure she was ordained. Like I remember hearing that. Not hearing it, but like I remember reading it too. And I think she actually had her own kyokai too at some point. Um, it's like I need to find like I don't know if there's a source, but I remember like knowing this from like a long time ago. But yeah, no, I'm like 90% sure she was a minister. I'm trying to I'm trying to like skim the like I okay. I'm trying to like skim the like page. Um okay, I don't know. But I remember like a sensei told me well, okay, this is a long story. Okay, I'm gonna read that later. But yeah, but like at the time, like it's not like I'm pretty sure. I think the system back then was different too. Like she could have been considered a toritsugisha, but I don't know if it was the same as like the way it is now, where like you get approved by Konko-sama. Like I have to do more research about that. But I remember hearing that she was doing toritsugi and she had her own kyokai, but then like she was like called to do her own traditions. I remember I swear I need to like go through this again. But then there was a whole situation too because I remember like she also had to stop religious activities because of the Meiji government, and I'm trying to skim through the wiki page, but like it's long, so I don't want to like skim it and say the wrong info. But that's what I remember hearing. So yeah, but whether or not like even if she wasn't a minister, she was like involved in Konku, and I remember she was like recognized in some capacity, but like she kind of went her own thing. But I don't know. It's like it's honestly like I think it's very circumstantial as well. Like depending on what's happening with the circumstances. And like how and like if your sensei is alive or not, that also is a factor. There's a lot of factors that contribute to like this sort of thing. I'm trying to just like think of other situations right now, but I can't really remember. But okay, hold on. Like okay, just like back to the topic, but like for example, like so like there's a difference between like how to explain this. So like lineage is important, but it's not like you're like strictly bound by it. Like again, like it's all about like if you're respecting the core like of the lineage itself, like you recognize people's like efforts and hardships and like sacrifices they made. And like again, like it's okay to make changes, but there's like some different nuance there. So like it's like, are you making changes to adapt to the modern lifestyle or modern circumstances? Or are you making the changes for your own personal spiritual path? Or are you making the changes for ego reasons? Or are you making the changes because you don't like want to listen to your sensei? Like there's so many different nuances and situations. And like the core of it is to really just like the core of it is like if you have respect or not. So like when I mentioned the people at the beginning of the stream who just kind of like or like other people other examples who like go like rogue or like deflect from their sensei or the tradition, those are people who do that like on purpose because they like because they don't care about the lineage that they come from or the senseis. Like they just wanted to do their own thing for like their own reasons. Like there's no like consideration. And I know I was vague about the earlier example, but I'm vague because I don't want to like start a whole drama. Like this is not a drama channel, so I don't want to get into that. But I know that that happened because like they didn't care about their sensei or the lineage. But if someone like genuinely has to start a new way from like a deep reason, like it's not an ego reason, or it's not like they don't care, but it's like they genuinely have to like it's their calling, or like they're trying to adapt to a modern times, like that it's understood that you're not doing it from um like a negative place. Like there's that nuance there. So like Deguchi now is not the same as people who just like do their own thing for whatever reason, like for their own like individualistic reason. Like she was trying to do her own path because that's the path she was genuinely called to, and that's the path she was genuinely having spiritual experiences towards. And then even now there's like some priests in the new generations of shrines who do like different things. Like they might have like anime omamori, or like they might do virtual shrines, and that's not really like traditional, or like maybe their sensei doesn't want that, but they're doing it from a place of trying to modernize and trying to reach new worshipers. And that's not from a selfish place. It's coming from a place of wanting to make sure the shrine can continue on into the future. So the whole thing I'm trying to talk about is about respecting lineages and respecting the sensei is like having that nuance of like coming from a place of respect, like not submission, but like respect to the people who came before. So even if you do something different, or like even if something comes up, if it's coming from a genuine place and not like a place of ego, or like I can do whatever I want, like of course, like we have to make changes sometimes in the future. Change is inevitable. Like we cannot escape change. Like I know that in the future, maybe this Yokosuka Hiromai will be completely different, and that's okay, because as long as the person is coming from a place of like respect, and they want this shrine to survive to the future, that's completely understandable. But if someone just makes this shrine like however they feel like it for their own personal reasons, it's a little like, it's all I can say is that it's disappointing, and it's like sad, and it's like a loss of something important through time, because it was just like, well, I just feel like doing that. And that might be inevitable too, like nothing lasts forever. Like so many civilizations and traditions have been gone, and so many things can change in so short of a time. Like we don't know the future. But for right now, as we move forward, we want to try to keep like the traditions we do have, and try to keep a sense of respect and a sense of um you know keeping acknowledgement to the people who went before us. So it's, again, like I was saying, it's kind of like that balance that's really important. Not to be restrictive, but just to like understand both sides. So like I'm not like a super traditionalist, I'm not like super conservative. Like I want things to be different. Like of course, like even like a long time ago, not a long time, well, it is a long time ago, like 10 years ago, like even live streaming ceremonies and like online toritsugi was like very controversial. Like it was like very like, oh my god, no, like that's not real toritsugi, that's not real ceremony. Like it was very controversial. But 10 years later, after COVID, like a lot of, sorry, I keep hitting the keyboard, a lot of kyokai and priests are more open to it. They're more open to online toritsugi, they're more open to live streaming ceremonies, and we're considering it a part of the tradition now. that's one good example of like maybe a change is not traditional and maybe the senseis don't feel comfortable with it, but we have to move forward into the future and like make these changes out of respect and out of wanting to connect to people. So it's kind of like that difficult balance, but I think it's possible to do. And I'm glad that like what I see, even like other shrines and temples trying to modernize, but like not AI based, not AI arts, maybe not that, but I think live streaming is good. I think online toritsugi is good. But it's all about like that, like what can we move forward with, what's not good to move forward with, that sort of thing. But yeah, so and a lot of people think, just again like back on the topic, is that like like it's hard because like a lot of people feel like once they become like a priest or like they become ordained, like it's kind of just like they can do whatever, like they have the ultimate authority. But the truth is like that's only for like that's only really like if you're like a head minister, like you're a head priest. um but even then you might have to answer to like the head shrine or like the head branch or head office. Like there's always going to be a vertical relationship. And even if you're like the head priest of like the big shrine and like there's no one really above you, there's still like the Shinto Sodai, there's still the community. Shinto Sodai is like a group of elders who kind of like advise the head priest and like advise the clergy. They're like elders who have served the shrine for many, many years. So there's still going to be people to answer to, and there's still going to be people to like connect to. It's not just like it's not individual oh my god, sorry, individualistic at all. Like it's very communal, right? Like it's very community based. So like you're always gonna have to like work with people to while you're serving as a priest or within a shrine or within Konko Kyokai, or anything like that. Because like the way that these traditions are set up is that they're based in like Japanese culture, which is like very communal. It's very like it's not individualistic. It's like you're part of a community and you're part of like a whole different people's lives, and um you can't just like decide whatever you feel like. There's always gonna have to be like a conversation to happen. And it's risky too, because like if there's like a priest who's going on like a power trip and they're being super rude to everybody, no one's gonna worship there. Like to be honest, no one's gonna worship there, no one's gonna donate, and then the shrine just kind of loses worshippers and like it has to lose the clergy. So like like so that's why it's like it's also important to like understand like it's not all about yourself as an individual. You have to show respect to people in the community as well. So like you know what I mean? Like that's also a big part of it, right? Because like I can do something like, let's say for example, like let's say I'm crazy and I take over Konkokyo Yokosuka Shrine, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna get rid of all this, and we're gonna put like pink like pink fluffy carpets and like I don't know, like disco lights, and like put anime characters all over the place. I don't know, something really really crazy and extra. And all the worshippers here, like the Shinto, like the elders and the Shinto and the worshippers are gonna be like, I'm not coming here. This place has gone crazy because of Olivia. I'm leaving. They never come back. They go to another Konko Kyokai. They live their lives happily ever after. And what happens to me? I just end up here alone. And probably Kami-sama is just like, what is going on? Like, probably the Mitama-sama leave. Like, it's just gonna be a disaster. So like, you can't just do whatever you feel like without considering other people, because ultimately this space is a community space. It's for everybody. It's not just Olivia's shrine. It's like everybody's space. So even if one day when I'm like 100 years old, I'm like the head minister or something, I I wouldn't even want to try to like do crazy stuff because I know that it's not like my personal space. It's like for everybody, right? So I have to respect their wishes too. But that's why it's all about the compromise, you know? Because like maybe some Shinto Sodai don't want to do like they don't like the live stream, but the newer people need the live stream because they don't live close, you know, not just overseas, but in Japan. Like we have a lot of people from all over Japan who want to see the ceremony. So, you know, it's like the compromise, right? Like I know you don't like it, but also then like the younger people they need it. So it's like, you know, so it's like making that compromise. But it's within reason, right? Because like the streaming setup's like not in the way of the worshippers. Like it's very like small, so it's not like we're like inconveniencing anybody either. So it's like, you know, it's like always have to work within the compromise. You know, like maybe some people are not gonna be so happy, some people are gonna be happy, but you know, we have to move forward too. So it's like, but not like pink carpets, anime characters, etc. Like it's like can't be crazy. So oh, sorry, let me do comment video. Video says, I think for Konko community, there's a reason to make changes like that because there's a global goal to save people around the world. So Konko Kyo is open for everyone and trying to help everyone. But does the Shinto community have any reason and wish to make any changes, for example, for foreigners? Oh, that's a good question. And pink yokai sounds nice. Oh no, maybe, but I think I don't know. We need like a pink community, like the people who want the pink yokai we build it for them. But if they don't want the pink yokai, don't build the pink yokai. Oh my gosh. But you know, every yokai is different, you know, like every yokai is different. But again, like if people don't like the changes, they can leave, you know, they don't have to stay. So it's like, you know, a little we have to make the compromise. Communication, compromise, consideration of the past generation, new generation, you know. And I think like for the most part like people understand, like even if they grumble about it, like they understand like it's not coming from a bad place. Like we're not like live streaming just to like get like money or something. Like it's for like outreach, like it's for connecting people to kami-sama. So like I think they understand, you know, it's not coming from like a disrespectful place. Like we're not like doing like TikTok live stream with like, you know, donate like a cookie or something. I don't know, like not to say bad about TikTok live stream, but you know, it's not appropriate really for like religion, spiritual stuff. So it's more for like games, you know, but it's you know, it's all about that, right? Like we can understand each other. As for your question, yes, so like for Konko it's really more like it's more like, you know, out in the open, you know, more obvious. But for other shrines, so I'm gonna be a little bit realistic here. So realistically speaking, some shrines like they just focus on the local community because they're not like the priest is older and they don't really know how to work a computer and they're like I don't know. So yeah. And then some shrines are really want to be international, like especially big shrines. So like, oh sorry, Lupin. What? Oh sorry, Lupin says it's an ego thing versus community thing. Oh never mind. Oh no, sorry. No, it's not about that. It's like it's more like a logistical thing. So a lot of the big shrines, right? They really want to be international. Like they want to be more open to people around the world. Like I know I can say from my own personal experience, like not just hearsay, but like actually being like on the ground, like Fushimi Nari Taisha, Issei Jingu, like um sorry, I'm trying to think of the other one. It's it's not a famous one, but there's some shrines in Izumo area. I don't Izumo Taisha like kind of, but I don't really know too much. But I think they have like the branch in Hawaii, so they're like that's international, you know. But a lot of the bigger shrines like that, they want to be like internationally known because there's kind of like this prestige in Japan to be like more international. It even goes all the way back from like the Meiji era, like being more connected. with like foreign countries like that is kind of like prestigious in a way. So it's kind of like if the shrines are more open to our people around the world, it's kind of like showing like how honorable the shrine is, and like wanting to educate people around the world about the honorable history, and like how important the shrine is to Japanese history and Japanese culture, and inviting people to participate in it is very like important for these shrines, and like very, it's almost like prestigious and like feels like an honor. And like um the book The Wisdom of Issei Jingu, there's a lot of quotes in the book like from people around the world, their impression of Issei Jingu and how they found it like a beautiful place. I think there's kind of this like desire that like the shrines like that are seen as the same level as like other World Heritage sites, like other important cultural properties like the Parthenon, or like like I can like I just, my mind immediately went to Greece, but like that kind of nuance, like they want people to see and appreciate and like understand, and also invite them to participate if they want to. Or like the Vatican too, like they want like the same level as the Vatican, they want the shrines to be understood as important to Japan. So that's kind of like the nuance there. So it's like it's rooted in a sense of like culture, like wanting to share the culture and wanting to share the importance, but also wanting to invite people to like participate. But not like, but there's no like conversion. So it's not, or like there's not conversion in Konko Faith either, but like, you know what I mean? Like for the shrines, it's more like, please like come, welcome, participate, learn more. And if you want to like practice Shinto, you're welcome to. And this is how we practice. And it's kind of like that international multicultural kind of invitation to participate in this religious and cultural traditions. Um, so it's kind of comes from that kind of place, like very proud of the history, very wanting to share it with the world, wanting to be on the same level as like the other countries and their traditional places and their holy places. It kind of comes from that sort of place. Meiji Jingu too. Meiji Jingu is very strong about that, because the Meiji Emperor wanted to also like be more, connecting with like, especially with like America and like Britain. Like they had a very strong connection back then. Not always for like wholesome reasons, but like because of the colonization and stuff. But that when you go to Meiji Jingu now, there's like wine barrels, for example. Like when you go to Meiji Jingu now, there's like the sake barrels offered, and then there's like Western wine barrels offered, because it's like showing how like this sort of like international connection, multicultural connection. So there's kind of like this like desire to connect with the world and like show like how important it is. And then you're welcome to participate. But it's like it's a little bit different than Konko Faith, which is like Kami-sama wants to, like Tenshikano Kami-sama wants to help people around the world from their suffering. So we're more like we gotta help people around the world. But for other shrines, it's more like, look, this is our shrine, this is the history, this is the blessings, and it's very holy. And please come and see. And if you want to participate, you're welcome to participate. And here are the like ways that you worship, and that's pretty much it. But it's not really like rooted from a place of like a teaching per se, like in Konko, or like a Kami-sama's like direct teaching, like Tenshika no Kami-sama. But like for example, like when people go to other shrines and they say like, I feel like a connection to this Kami-sama, and they're like a foreign person, the priests are like, oh yes, like that makes sense, like like yes, of course, like Inari no Kami-sama called you here, and that's why you're here, and we're welcoming you. So it's kind of like that. It's very like more personal level. And there's not like this like disconnect, like, oh, like there's no way that like Kami-sama would like call you here, like because you're not Japanese. Like there's not like that. Some people have criticized it's kind of like nationalistic, because there's like this like there's like a Japanese pride in it. But I don't really see it like that, personally speaking. Like I don't see it as nationalistic. Like I don't know, maybe okay, like maybe okay, hold on, backtrack. Like maybe some priests are coming at it from a nationalistic viewpoint, which I do know some who are like that, to be fair. Um, but what I'm like, there's priests like that for sure. But like when I think about the bigger shrines like Issei Jingu, Fushimi Taisha, Meiji Jingu, um, like Izumo Taisha, like they're not coming at it from that sense. They want to be like seen as like the Vatican or like like Mecca or like the Parthenon. They want to be seen as like a cultural, historical, religious, holy place of Japan, and not from like a really nationalistic point of view, like superiority. It's not. They just want to be part of the world heritage. So that's like how my understanding was when I was like there, like personally. Um, so yeah, I think that's kind of how I got it. Um, so I'm trying to think back to like these moments. Yeah, cause like even at Issei Jingu, like the museum and stuff, like everything like had English and like English for sure. I don't remember if there was Chinese or Korean. I think some places had Chinese and Korean too, but definitely there was all like English. Like even on like random spots, like there was a place in Issei with that was like a road for Tsukiyomi no Mikoto-sama. Like he would travel the road, and like the plaque was like in Japanese and English, and I was like, whoa, like there's English here too. There's a lot of English signage and like explanations in Issei, and at Fushimi Naritaisha too. Like I know that the priests get frustrated with like rude tourists, but like who wouldn't? But despite that, they have like all the signs in like so many languages, and like if you go to the shrine office, they're not like, oh my god, go away, ew. Like they're not like they like welcome, like if you're serious and you're sincere, like welcome. And yeah, Alex says Meiji Jingu also has French signage. Exactly. Like there's wanting to be a lot of openness. Actually, like yeah, like a lot of shrines have pamphlets in like different languages. So they want to like teach people and show people the traditions. So yeah, it's like open for like a cultural reason. Sharing like multicultural what's the word? Cultural exchange. Whereas like for Konko it's more like Kami-sama wants to help people. So like let's go. And I like both. But I'm biased. Like I prefer, like I want to help people around the world. So yeah. But there's no problem with like sharing, you know, faiths around the world. Like sharing Shinto faith around the world, and even on the concept of shrines overseas. Um, the Because even in Japan, shrines are generally built up like jinja shrines are built up for the community's sake, like for the local people. So like if there's an overseas jinja, like there's the assumption that it's for like the local community or like people in the area that they have faith in that kami-sama, so they have the shrine. And that's all it is. It's like, oh, okay, so they worship that kami-sama, so they have the shrine, like in Hawaii or like in the mainland, North America. So it's not like, oh my god, why are they like, ooh, like I mean, again, like some people in the Shinto sphere, like some priests and some scholars, they are like, why do you want to practice faith in Japanese kami-sama? Like they get confused and they get like, why you're like a foreigner. But that's just them, right? Like they're like one side of it, but they're not the whole side of it. They're not like the whole picture. Because I've also met like another side who are like very like open, but again, like even for the open side, like they're not gonna like because like even in Japan, like if like a community's like let's say like in Yokosuka, okay, like okay, actually this did happen. Okay, so in Yokosuka, let's say like people wanted to have like a Fushimi Nari branch in Yokosuka. Um, Fushimi Nari Taisha is not gonna be like okay, you want one? Let's put one up. Let's go. Like they're not gonna do that. They're gonna wait for someone to and like a group of local people to like petition for approval to have this place in Yokosuka. So they'd be like, oh, okay, so there is a group of people in Yokosuka who need this Fushiminari shrine. So we'll approve it, and then you guys can set it up, and like you fund the shrine. The priest is there, the worshippers are there. It's all on you guys, but like we'll just give the approval, and then we'll like allow you to do the ceremony to have the goshintai. So it's like it's not like they're like pushing away foreigners. It's just literally how it has worked in Japan. They're like to go to the head shrine, it's like you go to them, they don't go to you. So whereas like in Konko Faith, it's kind of like that too in Konko Faith, because like you go to Hombu and ask like, I want to set up a Hiromai. But for Konko, like, well, we talked about this with Lupin, because like I know in the past it only had to be a minister, but maybe now you need like a worship group too. I don't really like, I'm not sure. I'm trying to find out like what is the procedure, but in Japan it's basically like the people are already here, and then it's just a matter of getting the approval and then setting it up there. But like they don't really like the head shrine doesn't like ever really like like purposely like, okay, let's set up here, let's set up there, let's set up here. Like it's all about the people already there and then getting approval and then going back. So like it's not that they're like anti like overseas shrine or anti like foreigner. It's just like there usually should be like someone already there who like wants to set up something like in Japan. So and actually there is a Yokosuka Fushiminari Fushiminari shrine here, but it's funny because like there's one here, but there's not one like like in the town nearby, because there's just not the community. I don't know if that makes sense, but I hope it does. So yeah. Lupin says gotta get those foreigners. Yeah. Lupin says conversion probably has a different nuance between cultures. Ah, yes, yes. So like here, there's not like it's like if you want to practice like have a kamidana, like you just do it. You just start doing it, and then that's pretty much it. Like nobody like if I wanted to get an ofuda at a shrine, they just say like, okay, here, like give me like please donate 10 yen, like 1,000 yen, and you get the ofuda. Like like you don't have to like do a quiz or like show like a certificate or like prove that you're Shinto practitioner. You just ask for the ofuda and then it's yours. Even if you're a foreigner. So like that's pretty much the concept. But like if you want to get like like if you want to get, for example, I don't know, that's not really a good example, but like technically if you get communion in a church, you should have done the sacrament of communion for the first time at some point and like get approved to take communion. So it's like, or like like first you need to get baptism, then you do communion, then you do confirmation. So like that's how it is in Christianity or Catholicism really. But then like for Shinto, it's like you want to start having a kamidana, you just ask and then that's it. And the same thing, like if you want to start like a shrine, like, well, you need a priest, of course, but like if you have the priest and you have the worshippers, you just ask the head shrine and then you like establish it. So it's like, there's not really like any sort of like initiation rite or like process to like, get approved, like in the sense of like a religious rite, like baptism or communion. There's not really anything like that. So it's a little different. So it's, I don't know. It's like similar but not the same, It's like similar because there's like you have to get like approval from the sensei and like, for like a priest and a jinja and all this stuff, but it's like not like it's not like a religious rite. So I don't know if I'm explaining this right, but yeah, it's pretty much like that. But yes. Lupin says Casey has a process for setting up Casey Konko churches in North America. has a process for setting up propagation halls that only requires one person. Oh, okay. But for starting a church, it requires 10 people designated as responsible persons who are able to support the church. Takeuchi sensei had told me that in Japan, you only need 3 responsible persons. Oh, thank you for explaining. Yes. That's what I heard too. I heard conflicting information. I heard you only needed the sensei, but then I heard you needed the sensei and a worship hall, and then I heard you needed all these other different like designations. So I was I'm not sure, but thank you for explaining, Lupin. Yeah. So, but that too, basically, there's a process, right? There has to be the traditional way, as I understand it in Japan, for Konko Faith or generally in Shinto is you need the priest, you need the worshippers, and then you need the approval. And then the worshippers and the priest handle the whole setup of the shrine. So yeah. Lipin says, I'm no expert, it's just something I've discussed recently. Oh no, same, because I have not submitted any formal inquiry onto how to start a new kyokai. I just assumed that I would either be serving Toronto Kyokai, and now I'm gonna serve Yokosuka Kyokai. So I don't I don't actually, I have never made a formal request to Konko-sama to start my own Hiromai. So until I do that, I cannot actually answer, because it could be different depending on the situation and where I want to start the Kyokai and who's the parent Kyokai and all this stuff. So I can't answer that right now, but yeah, there's a process basically for that. I do know for example, for Toronto Kyokai, how it started was that there was a group of worshippers that worshipped in the house. There was a house in Toronto, and everyone gathered there for prayers. And then eventually, Kishi Sensei, no, sorry, not Kishi Sensei, another minister, I want to say her name was Moria Sensei, I'm pretty sure. But she came and she helped. Sorry if I'm getting this wrong. I will correct it next time. But she came and she helped to officiate for the worshippers and do toritsugi there. And then eventually the congregation grew, and then eventually Kishi Sensei took over, and then the congregation grew, and then they donated all the funds to build the official Hiromai building in Toronto. And then Kishi Sensei had to ask them where to set the building and all this stuff, but none of that was from the head shrine Gohonbu. That was all the Toronto congregation and Kishi Sensei and Toshiko Sensei, and they were all a community doing their own setting up there. So that's how I know Toronto Kyokai got established. It started as a worship group in the house, and then the senseis came, and then it grew, and then they made a budget for their own Hiromai, and that's how Toronto Kyokai came about. So yeah, there was a whole process. Vidim-san says, what's actually the word for a parent kyokai in Japanese? Oya Kyokai? Yes, it's Oya Kyokai. So our Oya Kyokai is Shiba Kyokai in Tokyo for Yokosuka. So yeah, Oya Kyokai. And your main sensei is also Oya Sensei. So my Oya Sensei is Kishi Sensei. My parent sensei is Kishi Sensei. And then my other sensei is Andrew Uzunai Sensei. So yeah. And then of course Masafumi Sensei is teaching me many things too. So yeah. Lupin says, I think a reason it's 10 people in case seating instead of 3 in Japan is because North Americans aren't as likely to support the church in the same way the Japanese do. Oh, yeah, it could be a possible reason. Yeah, and especially with the economy too. The economy in North America is very difficult. So there's a lot of nuance to that too. Lupin says, so I guess KCNA wants more people on board to compensate for the reduced effort. Yes, I think so too. And again, I think economical reasons are as well. Because again, all the kyokai are self-funded. Even this one, even Yokosuka, it was the same. So the founding minister of Yokosuka Kyokai, he was a worshiper of Shiba Kyokai, but he wanted to establish his own kyokai here. And then like he and the congregation in Yokosuka like started to fund to make this place, but none of the funding came from Shiba Kyokai. None of the funding came from the Hombo Hiromai, the head shrine. It was all like the local congregation. Actually, that's pretty much what's happening with like Shusei Inari Shrine of America now. Like, you know how Reverend Izumi is always trying to get like the fundraising for the shrine building? It's because like Jinja Honcho and like the parent shrine in Japan, like it's not on them to fund it. It's about the congregation locally and oversee online supporters to fundraise for the shrine building. Like it's all a community thing. Like it goes back to that, you know, like it goes back to what I said earlier, like how a lot of this is communal. It's not individualistic. So again, it like all goes back to the community to contribute to establish these worship spaces. And it won't be like funded by like a bigger entity. It's all up to the local community. So it's hard, but like not impossible, you know? So that also is a factor. Why there's not a lot of like overseas stuff as much. And even for Konko, like it's really hard, especially now because like like I can't even like like it's hard to even afford groceries. Like you know, like back then, like back in the like before you know a lot of the economical struggles, it was a little bit easier to establish things because like the economy wasn't messed up. But now it's pretty messed up. So like it's extra hard to establish something. And like, you know, for Kyokai it's a little bit easier because like we can just, you know, have a Kyokai in the house or like, you know, like Chicago Kyokai, like it's like separated, right? Like there's the house part and then there's the Kyokai part. But, you know, for Jinja, you need the whole land, you need the whole building, you need the traditional architecture. So it's like a lot more involved in terms of like funding and local community and all this stuff. So it's like it's very difficult. It's not because of like it's not because they don't want to. It's really because of like logistics, like realistic logistics. Both because like it's difficult to like train in the first place. It's difficult to become a priest in the first place. It's difficult to gather a local congregation. It's difficult to fund it. It's difficult to like do all these things. And they're like the big, you could say the big entities, the Oya Kyokai, the Oya shrines, the head shrines, like they don't get involved generally. Like they just don't. Like that's just how the tradition is. So it's up to the people, right? It's up to the community to get it started. So again, like I don't want to be a party pooper. Like I don't want to be like Debbie Downer, you know. I don't want to be negative, but it's realistic. Like that's just how the system is. So like with like my point is like with that in mind, how do we work towards our hopes and goals and dreams for that future, right? Because I want to see more like Konko Hiromai all over the world. I want to see more shrines around the world. You know, I want people to be more spiritual in general. Like what I mean by spiritual is like more connected to Kami-sama, more connected to their own spirit, more, you know, like understanding the deeper side of the world. Like I want that for people in the world. Like that's my hope. I don't want to move towards like I want to move away from AI and like individualism and like capitalism, like sorry, not like you know what I mean, like materialism. Like I want to move away from that because I feel like it's hurting us more than helping us, and just have a balance between like that and like spiritual connection. So like I think more religious spaces will help. It's just hard, right? So oh my gosh. Oh, sorry. Let me see here. So Vadim-san says, Todd Takahashi sensei recently told a story that in Brazil, believers didn't really know that they can offer money. Oh, before they always offered food or other resources. Oh no. Oh my gosh. Yes, yes. Yeah, because that's the problem. Because like senseis don't want to say like offer money, you know. That's a problem too. Because it feels like, you know, it feels like money grubbing. but realistically, we need money to hire a carpenter, hire a plumber, establish things, repair things, realistically speaking. So it's like, unfortunately, it's like that, you know. But yeah, but that's good that they still offer food and other resources. That's always valuable and important. But yeah, yeah, like money is, we like it's it's shogunai. Like that's real life, you know. Like we need money to fund things, right? So yeah. Lupin Sun says it's very thinly separated in Chicago. Ah, yes. I was there a few times in Chicago Kyokai. I remember the like screen, and I remember during Taisai we moved the screen and we had curry. It was such a nice time. I miss it. Like I want to go back, but like yeah, I know it's difficult. Lipinson says, I don't doubt that, Vadim. If there's nothing showing people what they can do, they won't know. Yes, exactly. Yeah, like that's a problem in Japan too. Cuz a lot of people don't know like how much they should offer even, or like if they should offer, you know. It's always very a sensitive topic, and like what was kind of like common knowledge from like word of mouth is kind of like changed now, so you know. But generally, like in Konko Faith, like we don't really say like the general fee unless it's like a big thing, and then there's like a consultation. But like at Jinja, they just say now like they have to be direct and say like, you know, okay, this ceremony is like 5,000 yen. Like like I'm sorry, but it's 5,000 yen. You know, because people just don't really know like these traditional things. So and like there's also the expectation like of course if you're like not making a lot of money, you shouldn't have to like offer so much. But if you're making a lot of money and you're like a business person, it's kind of like it's like really like bad to just offer like 1,000 yen, like $10, like you know. Yeah, it's not between the shrine or the kyokai. It's between you and kami-sama, because it's like if you're making like I don't know, let's say you're making like $70 an hour, like 7,000 yen an hour, and you offer like 1,000 yen for the grand ceremony. It's like whoa, you know, it's like it's kind of like this like it's not very good because it shows like you don't really care about like supporting, or like you don't care about showing gratitude to kami-sama for your bounty, like for your blessings. So that's something there too. But like if you're not making a lot of money and you're like on minimum wage, like of course like 1,000 yen is absolutely fine, because you know it that money is a lot to you and it means a lot, and it's like kami-sama knows that you're like sacrificing a little bit to offer um you know money that you could use for like a meal or something, right? So it means a lot. But if you're offering like 1,000 yen and you're like it's like chump change, it's like it's like whoa, like okay, like I guess you don't care that much, you know. So yeah, progressive offering, there's kind of like that unspoken like nuance, like you should kind of like people should try to understand like if you're well off, you should like offer a little bit more because you know, because it's like it wouldn't like be difficult on you. But again, like you don't have to offer like a lot of money if you're not able to. And in some cases, actually, like sometimes they return the offering if they know. Like I think I told this story before. I think I love to tell it though. But when I was a student and I needed bus money, I offered like $20 to Toronto Kyokai, and I was like, oh no, I'm using my bus money, but I want to offer. And then Kishi Sensei gave it back to me because like he knew like like I think Kami-sama told him like Olivia needs that money for her bus. I don't know why she's offering it, and I'm like sorry, but you know it's all about that, right? Like it's not about the amount; it's about the heart behind it, and like what does that amount mean to you in your current financial situation, right? So yeah, like Ginger kind of put it as like a median thing, and they also have tiers. So like Like basically it's kind of the expectation of like if you're like a business, if you're like Sony's CEO, you should do the highest donation. But if you're like just an average person, like the lowest one is fine because it's like that's kind of how they even it out at Jinja. But like for Konko Faith, it's kind of like unless you're like it's kind of implied. No one really wants to say it because they don't want to sound like you should, but it's polite to do, you know? So yeah. But that's that's also another like unspoken rule kind of thing. But I don't know. I think there's a lot of like cultural nuances too that like are involved, and it's like it's also about bridging that too. And then like at the same time as well, like if someone doesn't know, um, like you shouldn't refuse someone a ceremony if they don't know. But also like you have to kind of like have the little like situation, like the talk. Sometimes if like it was not really appropriate. So it's kind of like difficult like that, but usually it works out. Like usually it's not a big problem. Like people generally know. And then you can look it up on Google too. Like a lot of people look up on Google, like how much should I offer to the shrine for like baby blessing? And then you can find it on Google and stuff. But you know, and like if you're ever wondering like where do those costs go, honestly, it goes to the offerings. Like 90% of it goes to the offerings for the ceremony, and the other part of it goes to the time and labor of the priests. So like it takes us a lot of time to prepare for the ceremony, to write the main prayer, and that's a special skill as well. Like not everybody can write the prayer, the Norito prayer. So that's like paying for the skill, paying for the time, paying for the labor, and paying for the schedule, like paying for the time that you like book the shrine itself. It's all these things to consider when asking for a ceremony. So it's not like you're just paying randomly. It's like there's a lot involved. So if you're ever wondering, like, okay, what am I like offering this amount for? It's for like all of these things. And even at and on that note too, you also get like a naudai back too. You get like a gift. So like the donation also covers the gift you receive. Like a few of you know here who have been to Japan, like Alex, we've been to Gokito. You get the little like sake back after the ceremony, like the sake and like maybe like bonito or something, or like rice. And the donation you give for the ceremony also is covering that expense of the naudai. So like there's not really a profit really happening. It's like it's just trying to even out the the time, the effort, the preparation, the naudai, you know. So that's where it pretty much goes. And then the upkeep of the shrine, of course. So, you know, and then if you offer like more money too, you get more things. So like you get more things like, you know, like more appreciation is given as well. So like for example, like at Fushimi Nari Taisha, if you donate the highest amount, like there will also be like a Kagura dance because the Miko-san can offer the dance for the time and the effort based on the donation. So it's like that kind of nuance as well. So yeah, there's a lot involved. But like I say it's a lot, but it's just a matter of talking about it because I feel like not a lot of people like talk about it or like want to talk about it. And it's so complicated too because like again, like no like at the end of the day, like Japanese people are just people. Like humans are just humans. So, you know, you're gonna meet like really awesome, nice, super good people, and then you're gonna meet like really bad, horrible, like bigoted people. There's like, you know, it doesn't really matter at the end because like people are just people, and you're gonna meet really nice people, and you're gonna meet really mean people, and then you're gonna meet really enlightened people and wise people. You're gonna meet really ignorant people, and it's no different here than anywhere else, really. It's just like it seems different because it looks so different and the culture has such a different history. But at the end of the day, like people are just people. So, you know, like that's been my experience, you know, like I meet like amazing people, open-minded people, wise people. Then I meet like ignorant people, closed-minded people, rude people. And you think like I can't, when I first got into like Shinto world stuff, I was very naive, and I thought, oh, like everybody's gonna be close to Kami-sama, and everyone's gonna be really nice, and everyone's gonna be understanding, and I was like believing like this wholeheartedly, and then I realized, no, people are just people. There was really beautiful, like wonderful people who were connected to Kami-sama, but then there's like not. There's just not. There's just like kind of mean people, to be honest, really rude people. Um, it was kind of shocking for me, but then I'm like, at the end of the day, like people are people, right? So it doesn't matter where you go. It doesn't matter what religion it is. It doesn't matter. You're just gonna end up meeting different types of people, and that's just how it is. So it's no different here, really. So like that's why like I try to talk about things really general and like really like vague almost, because I cannot speak like this is how it is every single time, because that's not true. Like for example, like even about the ofuda thing, like you just go up to a shrine and ask for ofuda, like that's true like 99.9% of the time. But like just this like March, like my friend went to go to, like it was crazy because she went to Oji Inari Shrine, and like she was able to get like omamori and ofuda just fine, like the one day, and then she went back another day and it was a different person, and she tried to get ofuda and the person was like, no, you can't get an ofuda, you're Christian, like you don't know what this is. And she was like shocked. She was like she was like, excuse me, and she's like, no, I know what this is. And she had to show him like a picture of her kamidana. And she's like, I know who is Inario Kami-sama. She's like, I have like my Inario Kami-sama kamidana. And she had to explain. And then finally he like grumbled and then gave it to her. But it was like such a shock. But again, like that's like the like really weird, like outlier situation. Like it's not common. But again, like even though that's not common, it can happen, right? Because people are people, and maybe something happened that he like something happened with a tourist or something, and he got like really angry, and now like everyone who looks foreign, like he got mad. I don't know what happened, but it can happen, right? Because people are people. So I say like, yeah, you can just go and get fuda, but like maybe the one time you try that you get someone like that, and then it's like, oh no. But it's just like it's just those people who are having a bad day, having something happen, and it is what it is, right? Like it's not all the same all the time, right? Because people are people. Michael says most people I met at shrines when traveling across Japan were either really nice or really tired. Yes, that's the common denominator. Yeah, like super nice or super tired, and yeah. But again, like that's people, right? Like you go anywhere in the world, even like at the airport, you get the really nice people, friendly, and then you get like the really like aggro, rude people, and you're like, I didn't do anything. I'm sorry you're having a bad day, but like also, you know, but that's just how it is, right? Like we're just human at the end of the day. So, you know. Lupin says, the deeper you get into the religious traditions of the world, the more you realize they're all the same in how they are all filled with flawed and imperfect people. Ah, yes, exactly. Exactly. Like, I was so, like, flowery, like, no, it's gonna be better. Like, it's not gonna be the same. And then it's like, no. No, there's always, people are people, right? Like, that's the whole thing. So, it's comforting, but it's also, like, shocking at times, but it shouldn't be shocking because like it makes sense, right? Like you don't just automatically become like different because of like you don't automatically become not human because of religion or culture. Like you're at the end of the day we're all still human beings, so we all have good days, bad days, ignorance, wisdom, so that's just how it is, right? So yeah, I don't like to like broad stroke too much. I try to give general like circumstances, but I know that's not the whole picture, right? So yeah. Oh, recently some Japanese ex-news reporter said on her live that because of Twitter auto translation thing, everyone can see actual Japanese people on internet being rude and it ruins the country's image. I guess yes, I saw that too. I saw that too. But like that's the crazy thing is cuz like Twitter in Japan is basically like it's like the Reddit. It's like the reputation of Reddit, I guess, where like it's pretty much the place where you're either like gonna meet like really rude, like like kind of like like socially not rude, not social people. I don't want to say like I don't want to say like the bad words. I don't want to say like a mean word, but like it's kind of like people who go on Twitter to vent or like be very like or like salty people use Twitter. Um it's like a piece of the culture. It's not the whole picture. So Twitter is for two things. It's either for like fandoms and like fans or like really salty people. Um even in the Shinto sphere on Twitter, like I have seen the saltiest, like rudest people on there. And okay, not like the Konko accounts, but like I've seen I've seen things on I've seen things on Japanese Shinto Twitter that would be so spicy even for like our standards, like like foreigner standards, like just like call out posts, like just straight up like arguing, like rude, like direct insults, and I was shocked. I was like, whoa, it's like scary. I was so scared. I saw a thread on Twitter about Konko by another account, like this one account who's like very popular in the online Shinto Twitter, and they can be very salty and like very direct. And I saw them make a thread about Konko Kyo, and I was so scared. I was like, oh my god, like this is it. They're gonna say the worst things about Konko. But thankfully they said the best things. Like they were like, oh no, it's a good faith, and like they're chill, and I'm like, oh, thank God. Like thank goodness. They're like, and then they said like actually there's like Abe no Seime's grave in Konkotano. I was like, okay, yeah, like it's cool. Like, but I was so scared because it gets wild out there. Like it gets wild. I don't even know. Like Japanese Twitter is scary and Japanese Instagram is scary. Like people get really weird on the internet with like in Japan because like anonymity, like it's kind of like other anonymous sites online in English. Like they get really like it gets weird. So, but that's not like a reflection of everybody. So like, oh, okay. So, Redeem says Russian side of Twitter is also really rude. Oh no, but I can't say it's something unusual or really special behavior for Russian people. That's good though. That's good though. I think Japan's very like it gets crazy because in Japanese culture, you're kind of like expected to like be nice, like you know what I mean, like be pleasant in daily life. Like you can't really like vent in public. Like you can't really be crazy in public because like there's this kind of like social expectation that you have to be like calm and like chill and like normal in public. But that means it's kind of like being on customer service face like 24/7. And like how like when you have to work in customer service and you get really frustrated because you're like, oh my god, like these people are so dumb. Like no, I'm just joking. But like when I worked in customer service, and my coworkers would like complain so much about the crazy people, and I was like, oh my gosh. But in Japan, it's kind of like being customer service like all the time. So if you have like frustrations like building up, like pretty much the only place you can vent is like online when like nobody knows who you are. So like I feel like it gets extra crazy because like there's so much extra pent up like frustrations and like weirdness, and like Japan can also be very like isolating sometimes, especially if you live in a city. Cities can be very isolating because like everyone's just kind of doing their own thing. I mean, like that's anywhere in the world, right? Like cities can be isolating, but like especially in Japan, like customer service 24/7, big city. no one to talk to. Your family lives like 3 hours away. You're gonna just explode on the internet. So that's what generally happens, um, in my experience. But like I know people like part of like, for example, like I'm part of like this like nerdy, but like I'm part of people who are like play Magic the Gathering in Japan and like who are into like Umineko, like the story I like fandom and stuff. And on like on Twitter and like real life, they're really chill, like both sides. And I think it's because there's actually like social interaction. Because like when you play Magic, you're like talking to people, you're like seeing them face to face, and you're like you can be free, like you don't have to be customer service. You can just be like chill. You don't have to be like you can like yell and be exuberant. And then same with like Umineko, like when I go to meetups or like the cafe, like everyone's so chill and everyone's so nice and they're nice on their Twitter account. And I feel like it's because we know there's like a community and like we see each other pretty frequently and like we can talk to each other like openly and like share our feelings. And there's not like a disconnect. But like people who have a big disconnect, like in real life, and then they go online, and it's like everything explodes because they have no outlet. Oh, and same of course in the kyokai. Like my friends here in the kyokai and like people I know, like everyone's really chill, like online, offline, and because we have this community, we can talk frankly. We don't have to like put on a front all the time. So I think that's the difference, and that's a very like human thing. But it's just like extra pressure in Japan because like you have to be like you kind of have to be like polite and like you can't like just tell somebody to like f off like in public because everyone's gonna be like, whoa, who is this person. So I think the frustration builds up a lot more when people feel like they can't do that. So yeah, and the lack of community and everything. So it's just like I feel like that's why it's like extra toxic. um Yeah, so like I don't know. I feel like I see the same a lot on like rural North American people, like people from rural areas of Canada or America, and they go online and they get like really toxic because they're so isolated. I see that too. So I think it's all about that feeling of isolation. I feel like I don't know. And some cultures can handle that isolation better and like more healthy versus like it just exploding online because no one's gonna know who they are. So it's like is that's my opinion. I don't actually know, but that's my opinion from like observation. And it's like sad. It's very sad. But yeah, it's just like I don't know. Like as soon as Japanese people have anonymity, they just like so much frustration just explodes. So yeah, Lupin says community matters a lot. Yeah, it does so much. Um, Lupin says it's where they can finally share those things they can't say in public, huh? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. They don't have like really a community, they don't have really friends, they don't have their family nearby. Usually they're just going to work, going to their apartment, going to their work, going to their apartment, and then it's just like it's just there's a huge explosion happens usually. Even here in the Kyokai, like sometimes people come to do toritsugi after like once like they come down from Tokyo and then they do toritsugi and it's like all at once because they just don't have anybody to talk to and it's like it's very sad. um yeah, Tokyo life is very brutal. Like it's just very like work home, no one's at home. People don't can't even have a pet. It's just that like wheel that's turning is like very like it messes with people. So yeah, and like even the way Japan is built, it's like you can even go to the store or the restaurant and not talk to anybody because there's a lot of automated stuff. So like you can just order on an iPad and then a machine brings it. So even on that level, like it can be very isolating on that level too. Like if you're not like if you don't put in the effort, you can be like completely alone basically. So I try to avoid that too. Like I try to just like if I can, I go to a place I can talk to even just like a waiter or like someone because it can be very like messes with you. Um. Oh. Hi. Hi. So Asima says, even the English speaking sphere, people on Instagram are really mean for no reason. Like Instagram specifically, I've noticed. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Like I don't. I like personally. I feel like people like from rural North America. I feel like they're similar to Japanese people in Tokyo or like big cities. I think because of the isolation as well. I don't know. I've noticed that a lot too. I don't know why. I think again, it's like lack of community, lack of connection, and then just like the culture just not like allowing you to express your sadness. Because like even in like Canadian culture, and correct me if I'm wrong, but a little bit of American culture, it's like being like sad or like upset or like kind of down is like a sign of weakness. So like you end up feeling like guilt or like shame for not being productive and not being like happy or like not being like energetic enough. So then that guilt and shame kind of like compounds on the isolation and loneliness. And then again, it like all comes out on the internet, like just like all the angry stuff. And it's bad. I always say, like, people who are really happy, like who are genuinely like happy deep down, you will never feel a desire to say rude stuff to people online. Like when you're like in a really good place and you're like in a really content place, the desire to like say rude things or like hurt people, it just doesn't exist. But when you're like frustrated and when you're angry and when you're sad and when you have all these like negative emotions, like it's so easy to just like lash out on people on the internet, especially strangers, because you don't know them. So like, that's where you get random rude comments like you're ugly or like you're fat or something. It's like, whoa, like what did I do to you? But I know that it's because something's going on at their deep down. So yeah. Oh, Alex says, me and Sis are gonna make an exit as we need to start dinner. Talk soon. Oh yeah, enjoy dinner. See you later. I should go too soon, but thank you for coming. It's good to see you here. Okay, bye for now. Yes. And Lupin says, hi, how are you? Oh, sorry. It seems so Minako, my favorite story of all time. Same. Such a good story. Oh my gosh. I love Minako. As you might know, it's my favorite. I could like I could write a book about Minako, but that's for another time. Like it's not perfect, but it has like like it's a masterpiece to me in the core themes and the way it's written and like all this stuff. So Lupin says, hi, how are you? Is a standard greeting, but if you answer honestly, you'll probably be considered rude or an overshare or something. Yes, yes. Like, I feel like that's true in both Japan and like North America. Um, like I know, I know people use the word like don't trauma dump, and like I get it. Like trauma dump is a specific thing that can be very like triggering and like difficult. But I hear people use that word in regard to like saying like my day is not really going well. And then they're like, don't trauma dump. I'm like, I'm not trauma dumping. I'm just saying it. I'm just being honest. Like there's a difference between being a little bit negative, honestly, and like, actually oversharing, actually like saying like triggering things that happen to you out of nowhere in the wrong time. But like just being honest about having a bad day is not that. So it's like very complicated too. Culturally speaking, it's very hard to like open up. I don't know. I think it's part of the trouble. That's why I'm like I really want people to know more about Toritsugi, cuz like you can just come here and talk about whatever you want. And you can just say whatever you feel like and just like, well, you don't even have to come here. You can do it on the phone. You can do it through email. You know, you can just vent and like say whatever. And like, you like so like the Torisigi media will listen to you and you're like free. You don't have to be alone. So I get really sad that like not people a lot of people don't know about Toritsugi like in Japan too. So I'm always like I like want people to know about Toitsugi mediation. Just like it's free, it's there. You don't have to be Konko. You could just you don't have to. I mean, you don't have to identify as Konko Kyo. You don't have to like become a member. You don't have to donate. You don't have to do anything. Just come. Just talk to the minister, and it's like there. And I really wish more people knew. And like I don't know how to explain it without like seeming like, oh, it's too good to be true, or like what, like are they gonna like use that information against me, you know? I think it's hard for people to trust like there's just this good thing that is available to them. So I don't know, it's very difficult and sad, but I'm like praying to Kami-sama every day. I'm like, Kami-sama, like just please, like everyone who's like going through this difficult time, like just like please show me a way I can introduce Toritsugi to them, or they can come to the Hiromai or something, because I don't want people to struggle alone. You know, I don't like people to struggle alone. So it makes me sad, you know. Lupin says, it puts you in a tough spot when you greet someone like that and they respond with, boy, I'm so glad you asked. Let me tell you my life story. Oh no, yeah. Yeah. I find that a lot with older people, but I, I don't mind it if I have time, but if I'm in a hurry, I feel so bad because that's like, oh my god, I have to go, but I don't want to like interrupt them, and I don't want to be like, I don't want them to think I don't care because I do care, but also I have to go. So it's like a very difficult situation, and it's like, oh my goodness, or it's like if they're a stranger and it's like, oh my god, like I don't know like who you are, and it's like, you know, so it's kind of really, it's a difficult situation, you know, but I would like a slower, sorry, my cape is all over the place. I would like a slower paced life. I would like to have time to listen to everybody like on the street, you know, like street toitsugi. We used to do street toitsugi before COVID. But after COVID it got kind of weird because there was a lot of new like rules about stuff, and like people got a little bit more like, I think the post-COVID era, like there was a lot of shift, like psychological shift and cultural shift. So like people are a little bit more like, you know, like thinking about like talking to strangers and like going out to places and like going out even to shops and stuff. A lot of shops have closed after COVID. Even there's no lockdown, but like I don't know, the psychology of like staying inside more and things like that. So that kind of added to everything as well, and kind of made a more online shift where like people are more comfortable staying in and like on the internet. So, and then, but then that conversely makes things more like go faster too. So it's like, oh my gosh, like there's a lot of factors. Vadim Sen says, oh wait, sorry. Lupin Sen says, that's 100% how older folks do it. Yes, they love to, they love to say so much, and I'm like, I want to listen, but like, I have to go. I'm so sorry, you know. But if I have time, I listen, you know. And if they're not like weird, you know, like you know what I mean. Like if the vibes aren't weird, I'll listen. But sometimes the vibes are a little bit like spooky, so I'm like, gotta go, you know. But you know, usually most of the time, everyone's pretty nice. Vadim says, in Russia, we don't ask how are you unless you actually want to talk, because if you ask, you expect to actually talk about what's happening in your life. Oh, yes, yes. I like that though. Like it's more direct, it's more honest. Like there's no, you don't have to be like fake pleasantry. It's just like I'm asking you how you are because I want to know, you know. But like, you know, in North America and Japan, it's like a lot of people ask and they don't really like want to know, or they don't care. So it's like, oh no, I don't know how to read this. When I ask, I like actually genuinely like want to know. Like if I ask how are you, I'm like, I like genuinely tell me like how are you, because I want to know. But a lot of people just say it as like a hello, like hey, or like good day. You know, they should really just say good day. They shouldn't say how are you. But it's a cultural thing, you know. Lupin says it's not my favorite part of American social etiquette. Yeah, same, same. I don't like. Oh, it's okay. Yeah, it's like it's not. Yeah, like it's not the greatest thing. I don't know. But yeah, it's interesting at how things were and how they are now and how they will change in the future. I think thinking about that now, like what is our generation gonna do? You know, like our generation, as in like like age like 40 to like 15, I would say, like the young people to like young adults who are not really like in charge yet, because like right now everyone in charge is like 50 and up in most places, not all places, because like I feel like baby boomers are like really staying in positions of authority like a long time, but like kind of like you're in the middle, like you're either in school or like you're on like an underling. That's not a good word, or you're like an employee is what I'm trying to say. Like you're kind of like working under someone, you're working under a boss or like a manager. You don't really have like your own, like you're not like in charge, generally speaking. So like that kind of generation, like how will we move forward into the future? And like when the older adults do become in charge, how will they change things? How will they implement new things? I'm kind of in the middle right now. Like I'm not in charge of anything, but I'm also not like a student, so I'm like in the middle. So I'm like, okay, so like how am I gonna, first of all, like how do you like teach the next generation? But then how do you like avoid becoming like making the same mistakes as the older generation? You know, that's kind of where I am now. And it's like I don't know, you know, like I think it's just, for me it's just a matter of like not being stubborn, like just try to keep an open mind and follow kami-sama. Two things: open mind, follow kami-sama. That's like the two important things for me. So yeah. Lupin says the best part is when you're so used to doing it that way, and then someone randomly greets you differently with hi, and you still reply with good in you. No, same. I do that too. Oh my god, I do that too with like online emails and stuff. I like go like autopilot mode. I'm like like AI chatbot mode. I don't know how to reply sometimes. I'm just like, or like they say have a good day. I'm like you too, and I'm just like wait, that like they're completely different. So Udine-san says a lot of Russian immigrants joke about American people being super emotional, like like hi girl, oh my god, how are you? Love you, bestie. we don't actually say things like love you as a polite thing. Yes. Lubin says they aren't exactly wrong about that, Vadim. Yes. No, it's true. It's true. Like American, like people I've met in America are so friendly, and it's like, it's so funny. Oh my god, I love it. Like it's just like super Genki. Like sometimes like Americans will come here from the base and I'm like, hey, how are you? And they're like slap my back and I'm like, whoa, and they're like, long time no see, and we do like one of these, and I'm like, yeah, and they're like, what's up? They're like, I missed you, and they're like, I'm like, oh my god, it's like so friendly, and they're like so loud. I'm not saying like all Americans are loud, but just like like their voice is louder. So it's like you can immediately, like when an American person comes to visit the kyokai here, like it's always like everyone, like we say in Japanese like high tension, but it's not the same meaning as like high tension. It means like exuberant, like very like open and like loud and like friendly. So yeah, that's very, yeah, they dap me up. Lupa says they dap you up. I got a dap. They're like, yo, sensei, what's up? And I'm like, I'm good. It's so funny. But I love it though. It's like very different. Meanwhile, like when Japanese people come, they're like, oh, konnichiwa, like sashiburi. It's like very nice. But when like the Americans come, it's like, yo, sensei, what's up? Long time no see, sashi. And I'm like, what? Yeah. So it's funny. Oh my gosh, I love it though. Lupin says, I sometimes have that happen when I'm walking around my neighborhood and I'm fully running on autopilot. I guess, yes. Then someone says, hey, and I'll say, good, and you? Exactly. Oh my god. It says you can say that word loud. Generally speaking, Americans tend to be loud. Okay, thank you. I got permission. Thank you. I didn't want to sound mean, but it's just like genuinely like it's very like exuberant. When they come to the shrine. What up with it, dog? No, no, they're not that. They're not that extra. They're not that extra. But it's funny because like most of the Americans on base, they don't really like interact with like Japanese people as much. So like yeah, so they go from the base to here, and then they see like a foreigner looking person. They're like yo, and they're like they're all excited. So I'm like, hi. I'm mortified by my countrymen being so brash. No, it's okay. It's fun. It's funny. It's fun. I mean, not everybody, right? Like, not everybody. Like, there's some people from base who are like completely like Japanese. Like, they're very like like konnichiwa, like sumimasen. They're very polite. But other other people are just like, yo, they're so excited and they're so happy. I'm like, hi. But it's funny. It's funny. I love it though. It's like good to see the contrast. And I'm okay because like I'm from Toronto. It's like everybody is there, so I'm used to it. But but like like when we have a ceremony or something, and then like someone will come from the base, and it's just like everyone's like, because they're so like very excited. So, but it's fun. It's fun. So I don't mind. But yeah, you're right, Vadim. Like there's very like a lot of the like ginkiness. And I had a friend who visited from Hawaii, and she was always like, she was very friendly, very, very, very friendly. And she said like, "Love you so much." Like, see you later. And I'm like, "Yes, love you." I'm like, so shy. Lewin says, "All right, and you're dealing with the Marines and sailors from base. That's a different personality altogether." Oh yeah, yes, exactly. Yeah, all the people on base are like very, very like very unique personalities in a good way. In a good way. So, that's Yokosuka life. That's Yokosuka life. So it's been like that since like I don't know the 1900s. So like the early 1900s, Meiji. So, but it's good. It's good. Oh, but yeah. So, oh my gosh. Sorry, I just realized the time now. I should get going for today. Oh, Lupin says if I ever get to visit, I'll do my best. Not an American impression. No, no, no. Just be yourself. Well, you could do it as a joke, but just be yourself. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. But you know, I'm I'm sure it's fine. Oh, but yeah. Oh, but yeah. Thank you for today, William-san. Thank you so much. I'm really grateful to talk to everyone again. I'm gonna try to like do more like promotion. Like I'm gonna try to do more YouTube shorts and like post links to the stream. I'm so nervous about it, but I want to try to like open the stream more. So I'm nervous about it, but yeah, I'm gonna do my best. Okay, but thank you so much, everyone, and it's always a pleasure to talk to you all and share stories and everything. And if you ever have any like questions or concerns or like comments, please let me know anytime. So yes, thank you so much for today. Thank you. Yes, thank you so much. Oh, Lupin says, I want to ask how you are. I'll whisper, I won't smile. No, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Hopefully, one day we can meet in person. That would be nice. Thank you, Michael san. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Take care. And please have a good day and good week ahead. Okay. See you later. Bye, guys. Yes, hopefully. Hopefully soon. Okay. Bye, guys. Thank you so much. Bye, bye.